So Lisa Leslie is one of the greatest players of all time. No question about that. Lisa Leslie is one of the all-time greats. But she has now gone and talked about how she went for a WNBA job and 2 head coaching jobs and she didn't receive them. And by the way, I think you deserve a head coaching job in the WNBA, considering, in my opinion, how poor the coaching, a lot of the coaching is. Because whoever Angel Reese has as her personal trainer, maybe go and sign Lisa Leslie, because this is the best bit of advice Angel Reese has ever been given. It's the best bit of advice Angel Reese has ever been given. So I really do want to say this. This is huge.
Season 2, what's some advice that you would give for me?
Season 2, I can't wait to work with you some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period. Like, we're going to fix that.
Yeah.
That's fixable for you. And I think that's probably the biggest. I think your shot from the outside is improving. I love that your ball handling is good. Your defense is improved.
And, she's right on that. She's actually right. Her shot from the outside is not as bad as people think. It's not good, but, it's never going to be good after 1 year. That's just a fact. It's never going to be good at all after 1 year. So, you've now got, a situation where the problem is her literal layup technique. There's no amount of things she can work on if she shot puts layups. If she shot puts layups, it's not genuinely, it's not, ever going to work. But Lisa Leslie as well has talked about the fact that she was offered, or she went for 2 head coaching jobs and she didn't get either of them. And also says she won't likely apply again. For me, I'm why would you say that? Oh, I'm done applying. I mean, I applied for the first time and no one gave me a job. That's not, I like Lisa Leslie. It's not a great way to go about it now, is it? It's really not a great way to go about it. Again, I'm someone that's a fan of Lisa Leslie. I like Lisa Leslie as a person. I like Lisa Leslie was a hell of a player. But that's not the right way to go about things. Basically being I interviewed with these 2 teams. I have no experience coaching, and I interviewed these 2 teams and they didn't choose me, so I'm never going for it again. And I'm I wonder what team she went for. Because it's really hard to hire a new coach. It is. We saw it with Teresa Weatherspoon's first year experience. It's really hard to take that risk. Because you've got you're now going through an expansion. The league's reviving. No one knows what way the draft is. No one knows if they're going to keep what way the CBA is going to be. It's all of these situations, and it's very, very hard situation to put a completely inexperienced coach. She's coached 8 games in the Big 3, and that's her coaching experience for good. And how long has she been out of the WNBA? It's been at least a decade. Lisa Leslie retired in 2009. So she retired in 2009. So you're she's been out of the league 16 years and hasn't applied for a coaching job. And 16 years later, applies for one out of the blue. And because she didn't get one, says, oh, I'm done, not applying again. Same people saying experience were the same people that were glad JJ Redick got the Lakers job. Well, you see, first of all, no one could really understand why JJ Redick got the Lakers job. Second of all, he was not the Lakers' first choice. By any means. He was not their first choice. Third of all, the Lakers are effectively ran by Clutch. We can be honest here. Clutch run the Lakers, and obviously LeBron runs Clutch, and LeBron and JJ Redick like each other. That's a completely different scenario there. And also, you've now got JJ Redick, who's been out of the league a couple of years, and while he hasn't done any coaching, he's shown from his breakdowns that he's still his analysis of the game was probably better than anyone else's analysis of the game. So he showed he's been retired. I think, did he retire 2021? So he's only been retired 3 years. And again, was not the first choice for a job. Like, whatever 2 teams she went to probably got their first choice. But, like, I don't know why this is a controversial thing. People are calling it out saying, oh, like, she should have been hired automatically. And I'm like, been saying this for over 2 decades. It's like Noelle Quinn's not done a good job with Seattle. Obviously, like, Tanisha Wright needed to be fired last year. Teresa Weatherspoon needed to be fired last year. Lisa will get an opportunity in the NBA before W. No, she won't. Blatant disrespect, but I'm like, WNBA fell for giving men jobs. Like, this is the maddest thing. This is the whole thing. Nobody complaining about Lisa Leslie. And by the way, I really like Lisa Leslie. I would have had no issue if she got one of these jobs. Nobody complaining is talking about basketball. Nobody here complaining is talking about basketball. They're talking about her race and her gender. They're not talking about basketball. And if you are not going to make a basketball argument for why Lisa Leslie should be a head coach, then shut the fuck up about talking about head coaches in the league. And I mean that. If you're not going to make a basketball argument, stop talking. Because you're just dumb. Like, part of the reason why WNBA even exists, the fact teams turn her down. It's a head coach, not a freaking ambassador role. And by the way, she paved the way. Like, this is not, like, these are literally not basketball arguments. She's been that girl. She is the WNBA. What does that have to do with coaching? No shade. Amazing player doesn't have to be, doesn't translate to being an amazing coach. WNBA head coach is a huge leap. Yeah. And I think with the importance of the next couple of years, like, I genuinely think if Lisa Leslie spent 1 year as an assistant coach, she'd get a head coach job. And I mean that. It would take 1 year of an assistant coach for her to get a head coach job. Because she's one of the greatest of all time. She's one of the greatest of all time. She's practically universally liked. She's coached 8 games of 3-on-3 basketball in her career. Heck, if she was an unrivaled coach, she might have got a head coach job. Or at least been hired to a team. WNBA should target more WNBA legends coach teams. The NBA is doing that with JJ Redick and Jason Kidd. Man, the Jason Kidd signing for the Nets was one of the dumbest coaching hires at the time. And he did okay with the Nets, so they kept him on. People say, bunch of former players given the opportunity to coach. Why not Lisa Leslie? Like, when have we seen a player who retired in 2009 in any sport not coach for 16 years and then get a job? And I mean that. 16 years. No one has done that. Tell me Lisa Leslie, first one I've seen dunk in a game, can't be a head coach. What the hell does that have to do with coaching? Like, these people do not understand. And by the way, like this is, like, I don't know, see it have an issue. I'm sure the Sky was one of them and she would have been too cold. The Sky literally, there's like, they hired Teresa Weatherspoon last year, who apparently like catered solely to Kennedy Carter and Angel Reese. Told Izzy Harrison basically stop shooting the ball when she's a freaking stretch 4. And basically, like, I don't know what the hell she did with Dana Evans last year, but turned Dana Evans from one of the best bench players in the W. They'll keep White Man hired. It's like, yeah, what are you talking about? Like, that's the thing when you look at this. And this is the BS you have to see when it comes to the WNBA stuff. And by the way, I like Lisa Leslie. I think Lisa Leslie, I don't know if she'd make a good head coach. And I think it's unfair to say she would be a good head coach or a bad head coach because she has no experience coaching the sport of basketball. People had an issue with Mazian coaching. He nearly coached Belgium. Like, by the way, it was a Stewie tip-in. They were going to beat America. Stewie got a buzzer beater tip-in. He almost coached a win against Team USA. He almost coached a win against Team USA. And people have an issue with him. He literally got not even one of the best teams, not even Asvel, to a Euro. He got a French team to a EuroLeague final. And it wasn't even Asvel. It wasn't even the team who were paying everybody the big bucks. He almost got a team who nobody thought had a chance to a EuroLeague final. And people have an issue with him being a coach. Why? Why? Like, it's just so frustrating because it takes like an actual conversation. It takes away from the conversation of, should Lisa Leslie have got the job? Like, was her coaching experience enough? And if so, even if not, like, what teams might you bring her on? Because realistically, if you're bringing her on to coach without any experience, you're bringing her on basically for morale. You're bringing her on for morale reasons. And then you got to look at what teams she might have suited, what teams she wouldn't have suited. Like what teams needed like an X's and O's coach, what teams needed like a morale coach, a like get everyone on the same page type coach, what teams needed their coach to do more X and O stuff. And when you start to actually go into that conversation, that's when you can argue whether or not she should get the job. But if you're purely looking at basketball, a sport, from the lens of race and gender, you're never going to actually come to correct answers, because you're always going to be pissed off because somebody's going to get something you don't believe for non-basketball reasons. And because you don't actually understand the sport enough, nor do you want to understand the sport enough, you're never going to be able to understand any decisions that a team makes or a player makes not based on those reasons. And it's a really sad one because we've seen it in like the Colson, the Warner Bonner decisions. People just don't understand why people make basketball decisions and players make basketball decisions, teams make basketball decisions. And they claim to be basketball fans? No, they're fans of the drama. They're fans of the drama and don't know the first thing about the sport. Because if you're looking at the teams, the LA Sparks needed more X's and O's. I wouldn't mind if you were Lisa Leslie, the Mystics. The Mystics need their freaking tank commander. But if you're Lisa Leslie, why would you go for that job? Because you're literally being there for vibes while the team tanks. Like, that's not good for your coaching career because you'll never get anything after that. That's it. Your coaching career is basically done once your coaching career is basically done once you're there with a tanking team, especially if it's your first job. So the only team that would have made sense to hire Lisa Leslie was the Mystics hiring her for vibes. Like, no team that is looking to compete is going to hire a first-time head coach. Tyler Marsh, or a first-time head coach with no coaching experience, they've either got tape on these coaches on their philosophies based on college, which is the same thing with Semesco, the coach from Utah that the Sparks hired, the defensive coach from USC that the Wings hired. So they have all this tape on their philosophies and have all these references for them as a coach. Or in the case of Tyler Marsh, he was there as a development coach, and that's really what the Sky need, is they need their young players developed. So they brought him in mainly for that reason. Like, Tyler Marsh is more than likely a short-term coach, there for 2 or 3 years till the team's ready to compete, and then going and bring someone in. Like a much better type, Christy Sides type, like, stopgap coach. Lisa Leslie, at this point in time, the only logic for hiring her is to hire her for vibes, because there's no evidence of her coaching. So you're taking a huge chance. You're either hiring her for vibes or you're taking a risk. And I don't think there's a team that wants to take the risk. Simple as that. I don't think there's a team that wants to take that risk. And if I was Lisa Leslie, if she was actually serious about coaching the WNBA, 1 year as an assistant coach. Literally 1 year as an assistant coach, and I could guarantee you, if all she has to do is prove herself competent, and she'll get the job. Because she's Lisa freaking Leslie. She's one of the all-time greats. Like, and if she wanted a job in 2011, she probably would have got the job in 2011. The problem is, again, when you're 16 years out, no coaching experience in 16 years, it's hard. It is really, really hard. But anyway, I'll see you guys.